What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It. You already know it's your boy Bando, and I am back with an episode because Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis has officially been announced for UFC 305, and that's a matchup we've been wanting for a very long time. So let's get into it. Let's talk about that a little bit. Alright, so Dricus du Plessis, the current middleweight champion, is going up against former middleweight champion Israel Adesanya at UFC 305, and I'm pretty sure that's the Perth, Australia card. I'm almost positive, but so that's the main event for UFC 305. Now, flash back a little bit. We'll go back in time a little bit if you're not hip already. These guys have had a little bit of beef brewing between them for their many reasons, right? One of the main reason is with Dricus saying that he was going to treat the championship better out in Africa than Izzy, you know, all that kind of stuff, right? They were going back and forth with it, right? So the tension started building from that. And then if you look at the way that the timeline worked, right, for this whole middleweight shit, the whole middleweight division got completely turned on its axis, right? So Dricus beats Rob. This was after Izzy beat Alex. They're in the octagon with each other. They had that extremely cringy moment, just yelling back at each other, going back and forth. You could tell Izzy was drunk out of his mind, right? They had their little thing in the octagon, right? So you move on to a little bit later, a little bit later that year, I think, if I remember the timeline correctly, either later that year or early in the next upcoming year or whatever. Izzy lost to Sean Strickland. I think that was January, actually this year, January of this year. Izzy loses to Sean Strickland. So Sean Strickland becomes champion, right? Dricus being the number one contender and was number one contender originally for that matchup anyways. Izzy and Sean was never supposed to be a thing. It was supposed to be Izzy and Dricus. But Dricus got injured, pulled out, so Sean stepped up on short notice and took that fight. Went out into a completely different country and got the win. Won every round, surprisingly, shockingly. Nobody expected Sean Strickland to do that. And he gets the belt off of arguably one of the best middleweights of all time. And we move on to a new beef now, right? We move on to the beef between Sean Strickland and Dricus. They go back and forth. They had their whole beef. Dricus was saying stuff about Sean and his father. Sean, you know how Sean talks. Sean's crazy. He says whatever the heck he wants, whatever comes off the top of his head. No filter, right? So they go back and forth. We get that fight, right? We finally get that fight. That fight happens, and it wasn't that good of a fight. Wasn't very exciting of a fight. It was a very, it was like not high pace, but not slow pace, but it just wasn't that great of a fight. I did personally think Sean won, right? But I think the way that Dricus fights, he has this like relentless pressure. Even when he's not landing shots, he throws like sloppy shots and he looks like he's doing damage, but he's really not. I don't know. I've never been a fan of him at all, like from start to finish. Even if he gets better or not, I'm low-key a hater. I'm not even gonna lie. Look, he just looks like he shouldn't be good. Is that something? Does that sound weird? He just looks like he shouldn't be good. You don't look like a champion to me. But I'll give him props, right? He didn't shy away from this fight. He didn't avoid this fight, nothing like that. He didn't win this and say, oh, Izzy's got to get a win before he comes back. He didn't do none of that shit. He took the fight. The fight's happening. So it's on for UFC 305. And I like it. I like it because, one, like I said, you got the history. And two, it's a matchup that makes sense. But nobody expected for this matchup to happen the way that it's happening, with Dricus being the champion and then Izzy being the contender. Nobody expected that to ever happen, right? But that's what we're getting. That's what we're getting. Let's see if the UFC announced anything else by any chance for this UFC 305 card. Let's check. Okay, so no, I had the timeline wrong before, by the way. It was Sean and Izzy fought in September of 23, and Dricus and Sean fought in January of 24. That's what it was. I got confused. But they doesn't look like they got anything else announced for UFC 305. You know, if we have to play matchmaker and start talking about what kinds of fights can be on UFC 305, it's interesting. You're going back to Australia. You know, I would definitely like to see. I don't know where JDM's at, Jack Della Maddalena. I don't know where he's at right now. I know he was injured before, but I don't know where he's at right now, if he'd be healed up by 305. But he would definitely be somebody who is worth getting on the card. You know, it's one of those things where I would love to see Volk on this card, but you already know Ilya's not going to take that fight in Australia. No way. He's not going to defend a belt in Australia. He's going to try to call the shots and pick where he wants to fight. But that would be a sick co-main event. That would be a very sick co-main event, but I can see that being a main event somewhere else. But that's a decent matchup. Like I said, you want to have Jack Della Maddalena back. Kai Kara France is due. Kai Kara France is definitely due for a fight, so you got to get him back popping in there. Everybody loves to see Tai Tuivasa, but the thing about Tai, man, is I would like to see Tai get like an easy, quick win or something like that. I really would. I'd like to see him get an easy, quick win and then get like a fight in his hometown, because you don't want to see him lose in actually, I don't even think he's from Perth. Maybe he is. I don't know. But either way, you don't want to see him lose over there where he's going to have a huge fan base regardless, right? So it's one of those things where you can get him on the card. It's going to help sell. That's definitely going to help sell the card, no doubt. But I don't know. It's tough because you can't really tell what else you want to put on this card. Like, they announced a main event for September already. It's Calvin Kattar and Kyle Nelson, right? This is like a dope little main event. But that might be even a good thing to throw on a pay-per-view card. 304 is the UK card. We got that absolutely stacked card in August with Corey Sandhagen and Nurmagomedov. That's going to be a very good fight. Very, very good fight. Very good card just in general. Man, like 305, I'm gonna really look. We gotta look through the rankings. I gotta do a whole episode on that and do some research on who should we see on UFC 305, because that's a big card. Perth, Australia. You're doing back-to-back different countries. It's pretty dope. It really is. You're going to the UK and then you're going to Australia. Instead of state to state, you're going country to country. I like that. It's dope. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. What else has been going on? Dana White was talking about the McGregor stuff. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about it anymore, but I'm going to keep talking about it because there's always something to talk about it. Dana White said that he's not going to announce anything until he knows that Conor is 100% cleared to fight. And man, it kind of sucks. It really does suck. Michael Chandler sat out this whole time. And he said, don't feel bad for him, right? It's part of the game. It's how life goes, all that kind of stuff, right? He was saying this shit, but it really sucks that you don't get to see him get that matchup, and I just don't feel like we're ever going to get the matchup. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we do get it, you know, like they were saying, August 31st, the rumor in Vegas. If they can get that to happen, I'm cool with that. Sometime in September, maybe the Sphere, he headlines the Sphere, whatever the case may be. We need that fight, though. We would like that fight, but I just don't see it happening at this point. So Tatsuya Taira this weekend, great win. Great win against Alex Perez. He definitely showed that he has range in his skill set. He's got good stand-up. He's able to hang. I mean, Alex Perez was kind of just throwing stuff, kind of trying to show different angles and stuff like that and keep Tatsuya Taira from being able to time him. Couple ground exchanges in the first round, nothing crazy. But that second round, I bet second round finish either way. So it didn't matter who was going to win. I just bet the fight would end in the second round. I am so happy I bet that, because we got that. But the crazy thing is, if ESPN Bet would have allowed me to parlay parlay Tatsuya Taira to get a submission specifically in the second round. So 2-leg parlay of the submission and then the second round. If it would have let me get that, that would have been dope. But it's crazy because that didn't count as a submission. Am I tripping? Like, maybe I don't know the game. Maybe I've been watching this all this time and I don't know the game. But I thought when you tap, that's considered a submission. When is that considered a TKO? I understand the injury aspect of it, but he was in the process of attempting for a submission. He got a takedown with it, and then Alex Perez proceeded to tap. So isn't that a submission, right? So I'm glad that I didn't end up, like, I wasn't able to end up betting that 2-leg parlay anyways. But if I did, damn, that wouldn't have hit. That wouldn't have hit. But I thought that would be a submission. I thought when you tap, it's a submission regardless. But either way, Tatsuya Taira, that man is slick, creative, definitely creative. That way, the way he took him down and the way he just got his back and everything like that, it was very, very clean. Very clean. He's got unique techniques. I never really seen anybody break somebody down off of their back to take them down to end up. It was just wild. You got to see the replay of it if you haven't seen it. But that was just cool little technique that he used, and I'm excited to see more of this kid because he actually might be the future of the flyweight division, because you're talking about a division that doesn't have much to offer, if I'm being honest with you. You got Brandon Moreno, who's sitting out right now. Brandon Royval, who is very fun to watch. Pantoja, fun to watch. Manal Cape, never able to make it to a fight. Kai Kara France, doesn't seem like he could ever make it to a fight. Davison Figueiredo went up. So, I mean, there's really not much going on. There's Alex Perez. Alex Perez basically fights everybody, so I can give him props on that. I'm not a fan of him, but I give him props on the fact that he fights everyone. He never turns anybody down, so you got to give him props on that. But I think Tatsuya Taira is the future. I mean, there's Muhammad Makayev. I know that's a lot of people's picks to become champion. He's one of my picks to become champion, but let's see what Tatsuya Taira can continue to bring to the table, and he's gonna rise up the ranks fast. Undefeated prospect like that, he's gonna rise up the ranks fast, no problem. But that's it for this episode. You know, I just have to come through with the episodes. I've been active. I told you I'm gonna get active, and I got active. But you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out, and catch me on that next episode. I'm out of here. Your boy Bano's out. Peace.